After last week, most people were worried that this one would be a little one-sided. Turns out it was a lot one-sided. My name's Mark. Let's talk rugby. So this game, Argentina, they're trying the first couple of minutes. They're on attack, holding onto the ball. New Zealand, they're defending around 22. At this point, not giving away penalties is kind of the similar defence that we saw against Ireland, where they were able to hold without coming offside. But then Argentina to try a kick through, doesn't come off. Jordy Barrett, he scuffs a kick to touch. Montoya then hits his man in the line-out. Kramer with a great carry, and Argentina finally force a penalty out of that New Zealand defence. Buffelli strokes that one over for 3-0. Argentina lead, and that was probably the height of, it was the height of their performance really in this game. Isa then catches an up and under as Buffelli, first of all, it went up and he tapped it back. Isa collects it. Talea was under the ball, but didn't seem too bothered about actually competing for it. Argentina then trundle forward, but the clearers just go completely off their feet, and it's a penalty to New Zealand. And Argentina did that a lot, especially early on, where the score wasn't such, a blowout, where they were either going off their feet and sealing, or they were clearing beyond the ruck, and they were just making it easy for New Zealand to win those penalties, and just stripping themselves of any kind of momentum that they were trying to build. But New Zealand did a lot of that as well. New Zealand, they go up the line from the penalty, set up a maul. Lavanini and Petty, they get pinged for maul entry coming into the side. Angus Gardner then gives them a warning about that, because there was those two and at least one other person. New Zealand kicked the penalty back to the corner. Argentina, they disrupt well initially as New Zealand look to drive the maul, but they do concede another penalty. Smith then snipes off the back. He goes close. They recycle it. Hands across the line. There's a nice long pass out. I'm not sure who gave it. It was probably one of the midfielders, but Jordan then goes over in the opposite corner. Mwanga converts this one for 7-3. Argentina then, they come forward looking to respond. They get back into that New Zealand 22, but the whole build-up just seems very laboured, and they're finding it very hard to actually make any kind of line breaks. Talea then gets in there, he turns it over, and we just see the difference between the teams as New Zealand just flick that switch from defence into attack. Rico Ioane, he counters, he finds Mwanga, break up the middle. They get into that Argentina 22. Argentina initially hold them, but then it's wide again. Jordan, he finds Jordy Barrett, who it was kind of weird, because he kind of flipped and bounced through the tackles and ended up over the line to dot it down. I'm not sure what happened there, but conversions misses 12-3 to New Zealand, and already looking a bit ominous for Argentina. Argentina, for the next while, they got plenty of possession and they have territory as well, but again, they're not really looking after the ball when when they get to that 22 and they start to potentially threaten. They're conceding penalties. New Zealand are getting in there to disrupt. They're competing at their lineouts. They're stealing their lineouts as well. Finally, Argentina gets some penetration into that 22. They go right up to the line. Jordy Barrett gets pinged for going off his feet. We have some good carries from Kramer and Isa. And Isa was actually just back on. I think it was from a blood bin. They win a penalty, and then they decide to kick it. Buffelli knocks it over. I'm sure Argentina and the fans didn't think at that stage that this, they would be the last points that actually score in the entire game. Gonzalez then gets pinged for playing Jordan in the air, and New Zealand kicked that penalty to the corner. Argentina defence initially drives New Zealand out of the 22. Then Montoya, he goes off his feet, and another kind of silly penalty after some decent defensive effort there. Penalty to New Zealand. Mwanga makes a 15-6, and New Zealand are just keeping them at arm's length now, and you feel like, you know, they're going to have a purple patch and they're going to pull away, and that will be the game gone. New Zealand then win a scrum penalty. New Zealand's scrum was really good, but there were points in the game I felt where maybe it got to the point where the referees just decided that if the scrum goes down, it's Argentina's fault, because there was a few where it looked like the New Zealand front row went down first, but Argentina got penalised. But this one was definitely a strong scrum from New Zealand. Argentina were at fault. New Zealand go up the line. Sabea claims that line out. They then go to one out runners, not really going anywhere, but then Talea, he kind of wiggles his way through a couple of initial defenders, and he's just so slippery. He gets almost the whole way up to the line, past, I don't know, 3 or 4 defenders in total. He's stopped there, a few metres short of the line. They recycle it, they get it out to the wing. Then for Frizzell, he's kind of gone over the line, but he's looking around hesitating before he puts the ball down, as if he's waiting, you know, for something to get blown up. It doesn't, so he grounds the ball. I don't know why he didn't just ground the ball and wait to see after that if anything was blown up, because somebody could have run in and knocked the ball out of his hand or something. But it is a try. From here then, Mwanga, he hits the post with the conversion attempt. It's 20 points to 6. That's a halftime score. New Zealand completely in control. You think then Argentina, they want to start the second half, you know, well, but Gonzalez knocks on the kickoff. New Zealand, another strong scrum from them. Aaron Smith then off the back of that, he dashes through, sells like a ridiculous dummy and goes over to score. Mwanga converts for 27-6. And already you're thinking, listen, this game is done. New Zealand, they come again, they're pounding away at the line. Frizzell, he forces his way over then for his second try, New Zealand's 5th. Mwanga makes it 34-6. The contest well and truly settled, but you know, Argentina and the fans, they got to suffer through the rest of the game. And I've been there before, and I know it's not a nice feeling. I really did feel sorry for those Argentina fans, you know, watching at home, and especially the ones in the stadium, you know, who were there hoping that they'd maybe witness, you know, a bit of history, but at least they were thinking their team were going to give the All Blacks a game, but they never really did. But from here then, we do have a lovely cross kick from Boffelli. I think it was to, who was it? Or sorry, no, it was a cross kick to Boffelli. And that allows Argentina to attack, and they win a penalty. They kick that to the corner. They then go through a number of phases, but then the inevitable knock-on comes, and it's just not their night. And at this stage, all they're looking for is to score a try. They're not even thinking about any kind of comeback or anything like that. They just want something, you know, to give the fans who have supported them so well and paid so much money as well to be there, something at least to cheer about. But then New Zealand, they attack off a line out. First, they go right, and then they come back to the left. Talea, he's stopped short, but they get the ball out, and then Jordan is over for a second in the corner. Conversions miss 39-6. Scott Bard then shortly after, he gets a yellow card. Basically just stuck his hand, he's lying on the ground, sticks his hand up, like knocks the ball out of the scrum half's hand. Like, it's just stupid. Gets himself a yellow for that. And you know, he's lucky he did it in this game, and you know, hopefully that brain fart has happened now and he won't do something as dumb as that in the final, because if that's against, you know, England or the Springboks, that could actually be costly. Argentina, they do try to take advantage of that yellow card period and try and get that score, but again, knock on as they're trying to pressure in that New Zealand 22. Will Jordan then completes his hat-trick. New Zealand, they attack off a line out. He makes a break. Cover comes up, so he chips them, and then he collects it to go over and score. Mwanga misses the conversion. It's 44-6. New Zealand then, they're pushing for another try to try and break the record for, they probably weren't trying to break the record, but we knew that they were close to breaking the record for the score in the semi-final, which was 49-6. The All Blacks against Wales back in 87. But this one, there's a chance, like, they get right up to the line again. Mwanga has the ball. There's a chance to pass it. There's no Argentinian defence to the right at all, and there are New Zealanders out there. The ball though doesn't come out. It gets knocked on. Argentina then, they run out off the scrum. There's a bit of backwards and forth between the two teams as both are trying to get a final score, but eventually then Mwanga gets the ball off the field. Final score is 44-6. New Zealand into the final. It was very comfortable. I was going to say fairly. It was very comfortable for them in the end. We're going to have a look at some stats and then we'll talk about the performance of the two teams. So first of all, the territory, 44% for Argentina, 56% for New Zealand. In that first half, Argentina they were up around the 61-62% territory, and they had more possession as well, but could do absolutely nothing with it, unfortunately. The possession at the end of the game then was 41% to 59% in favour of the All Blacks. Meters carry 477 for Argentina, 638 for New Zealand. The runs 141 to 161. So Argentina, they're carrying for like what not even 3.5 meters per carry, whereas New Zealand, that they're up there at about 4 meters. Yeah, it's around about 4 meters per carry for them. So they're definitely getting more go forward. And you see that as the carries over the gain line. 72 for Argentina, but 90 for New Zealand. Passes then 168 to 205. Defenders beaten 25 to 49. Offloads 5 to 10. Offloads didn't play a huge part in the game mainly because there wasn't that much pressure on New Zealand to get their scores. So the offloads didn't seem to matter as much in terms of keeping the ball alive and moving it away from an aggressive defence. Then in terms of kicking, like Argentina only kicked 22 times, New Zealand 32, and Argentina for 660 meters, New Zealand much better for 980, so almost 1,000 meters for them. In terms of then the set piece, so scrums both went 4 from 4, but when New Zealand were putting in, they were winning penalties on their put in. I think that was the big thing. Lineouts then, Argentina went 10 of 12 for 83%, which is okay, but it's not really gonna win you a game, especially when all those other stats that we were talking about went against you. New Zealand went 18 from 19, so that one missed line out is actually only their second, I think, of the entire tournament. That line out has been so amazing, and I think it's going to be very interesting to see. Like, we know that the Springboks can really put your line out under pressure. So if those two are in the final against each other, obviously Springboks still have to get there. People are expecting a one-sided affair for them tomorrow, but we'll have to see. I'm hoping it's a more competitive game though. But only 2 missed lineouts in the entire tournament for the All Blacks is just like God tier really from them. Lineout steals then, New Zealand got to 2 and Argentina obviously got that 1 there. Discipline then, penalties conceded 10 from Argentina and 6 from New Zealand. New Zealand, they've been so good with the discipline. We saw it last week against Ireland. Their defence feels comfortable enough not to kind of get too close to that line where you're going to give away penalties. Same again today as well. They did have that yellow card for that stupid mistake, and again that needs to be cut out. For the final, tackles made 192 Argentina, 186 for New Zealand, and then success 73% is very low for Argentina. 84 is kind of what for New Zealand, is kind of what you would expect as a pass mark, I think, for a test side or like a top side, in, say, European rugby or URC or Super Rugby, that kind of thing. So, decent for them on defence. But really, they didn't need to be anything more than that in this. Turnovers 1, then 3 from Argentina and 5 from New Zealand. Again, New Zealand, everything going their way, and they're making it go their way too. So in terms of the two teams, well, Argentina, listen, they did really well to get to a semi-final, and that's something to, when the dust is settled on this World Cup, it's something that they should celebrate, and hopefully they do get like a hero's welcome when they head back. Like it's the third final or semi-final, that they've made it to, which for a team like that, has only recently been added to the Rugby Championship and wasn't a Tier 1 nation when they made some of their other semi-finals. That's just an amazing stat when you think of like a team like Ireland still haven't made it there either. So, they need to be proud of that, and are proud of how their team grew through the tournament, but this was a step too far for them. The competition on New Zealand's side of the draw was just so much higher that when they come into this game, the standards were just on completely different levels, and they just couldn't, I think, live up to that. New Zealand, they're looking good. They did really well today. Set piece went well. Scrum and line out, excellent. Scrums winning penalties. The line out just looks completely bulletproof at the moment. That could definitely change next week. But, you'd rather go in with it like that than go in with issues and have extra worries. Their defense looks good. And then the attack is beginning to click and purr as well. I know they scored a bunch of tries throughout the tournament, but some of them were against, soft opposition. And then the Italians that just completely gave up. Like the Italians, for my money, Italians should have got on the plane and gone home at halftime in that game against New Zealand, because after that, like they didn't want to know, and it was before that, but you'd have to get them off the field to send them to the airport. So, but on this one, against Ireland, they looked excellent, and against Argentina too. And we're seeing like a lot of variation as well. It's not just relying on individual skills, or they're creating a lot of space and a lot of opportunities as well, and they're executing excellently too. So they're looking in good shape for their final, and are absolutely deserved of that place there.